A president out here claiming he's the chosen one, actually believing it like it's real, like nobody's supposed to question that level of ego. And then on top of that, turning around and mocking Pope Francis right after the man passed by posting AI images of himself dressed like a pope. That's not just disrespectful, that's straight up disturbing. It shows a mindset that's way off and honestly not stable, because normal people don't act like that. Normal leaders don't act like that. There's a line you just don't cross when it comes to death and faith and respect. And he blew right past it like it meant nothing, like it was some kind of joke or opportunity for attention. And that's exactly the problem. Everything turns into a show. Everything becomes about feeding his own image. Even moments that are supposed to be sacred or at the very least treated with basic human decency. And people can try to laugh it off or defend it all they want, but deep down they know this isn't right. This isn't leadership. This isn't strength. This is someone who's lost in their own hype. Someone who's gotten so used to hearing yes that they don't even hear themselves anymore. Because if you step back and really look at it, there's nothing normal about a grown man in power acting like he's some divine figure while disrespecting someone who just died. That's not confidence. That's something else entirely, and it should make people uncomfortable. It should make people question what kind of mindset is behind decisions that actually affect real lives. Because if there's no respect here, if there's no awareness here, then what does that say about everything else? It says we're dealing with someone who doesn't take anything seriously unless it benefits them, and that's dangerous, plain and simple. Because leadership isn't about playing dress up or chasing attention. It's about knowing when to step back, show respect, and act like you understand the weight of your position. And right now, that's not what we're seeing at all. We're seeing the opposite, and people need to stop pretending this is just another moment to scroll past, because it says a lot more than people want to admit. It shows character. It shows priorities, and it shows a lack of basic judgment that shouldn't be ignored, not now, not ever. Then you've got this same person making AI pictures of feces falling over New York, dumping on an independent reporter, and basically everyone living there like it's some kind of joke, like regular people are just targets for his nonsense. And that right there tells you everything you need to know. Because no serious, stable leader spends time doing things like that. No one with any sense of responsibility thinks it's funny to degrade an entire city and the people in it just because they can. That's not humor. That's not leadership. That's straight up ugly behavior. It shows a mindset that's careless, disrespectful, and honestly dark, because when someone in power chooses to act like this, it's not harmless. It reflects how they see people. It shows they don't respect the public, they don't value dignity. And they definitely don't understand the weight of the position they're in, and people can try to brush it off and say it's just jokes or trolling. But at some point, you have to call it what it is. It's wrong, it's low. And it's not something you ignore when it's coming from someone who's supposed to lead, because leadership isn't about mocking people. It's not about creating disgusting images for attention. It's about having enough control over yourself to know when something is out of line. And clearly that line doesn't exist here, because this kind of behavior doesn't come from strength. It comes from a place that's off, a place that's willing to disrespect anyone for a reaction. And that's exactly why it should concern people, because if this is what's being shown openly, imagine what's behind closed doors. Imagine the decisions being made with that same mindset. It's not something to laugh at. It's something to take seriously, because it speaks to character, and character matters when you're in a position that affects millions of lives. And right now, what's being shown is not something people should be comfortable with at all. It's the behavior of someone who is acting in a way that's clearly wrong, and someone like that should not be anywhere near the role of president. Then on top of everything else, making AI pictures of the Obamas as apes, and let's be real about that. That's not edgy, that's not humor, that's racist, plain and simple. It's hateful, it's disrespectful. And it shows exactly where the mindset is at, because no decent person, let alone someone in power, thinks that kind of thing is acceptable. There's no excuse, no spin you can put on it to make it okay. It's ugly behavior coming from someone who should know better but clearly doesn't care. And that's the issue. There's a pattern here of crossing lines. of saying and doing whatever for attention without thinking about the damage behind it. And people keep trying to downplay it like it's nothing. But it's not nothing when it targets people like that. It's not nothing when it feeds into hate and disrespect. And it's definitely not nothing when it's coming from someone who wants to lead a country, because leadership isn't just about power, it's about character. It's about knowing right from wrong and actually acting like it matters. And this right here shows the opposite. It shows someone who either doesn't understand or just doesn't care, and both of those are a problem, because if you're willing to go this low publicly, what does that say about your judgment overall? What does that say about how you view people, how you make decisions? How you handle responsibility? It says a lot, and none of it is good. This isn't strength, this isn't confidence. This is someone showing a level of disrespect and hate that should not be anywhere near the role of president, and people need to stop pretending this is normal or acceptable. Because it's not, it's wrong, it's clear, and it should be called out exactly for what it is, behavior that has no place in leadership at all. Then he turns around and makes another one with himself as Jesus, and now we're supposed to believe he thought it was a doctor. Like, come on, nobody is buying that. That excuse is weak, and he knows it. People aren't blind, and they're definitely not stupid. We can see exactly what's being done here. And it's the same pattern again, pushing things too far, disrespecting people's beliefs, and then trying to backtrack with some nonsense explanation like it's going to fix it. It doesn't. It just makes it worse, because now it's not just the action. It's the fact he thinks people will actually fall for that kind of lie, and that says a lot about how he views the public. Like we're just supposed to nod along and accept whatever story he throws out. But that's not reality. Nobody ever saw him as Jesus. Nobody ever asked for that. And nobody believes that excuse for a second. It's just another moment of trying to twist something obvious into something it's not, and it keeps showing the same issue over and over again. There's no respect, no accountability. Just constant pushing for attention, and then pretending it was something else when people call it out. And that's not leadership. That's someone playing games while holding a position that should be taken seriously. Because when you're in that role, you don't get to act careless and then hide behind excuses. You don't get to disrespect people and then pretend it was a misunderstanding. You own what you do. And right now, what's being shown is someone who either can't or won't do that. And that's a problem, because people deserve honesty. People deserve better than being talked down to with excuses that don't even make sense. And at the end of the day, nobody is confused about what they saw. Nobody is mistaken about what it was. And nobody believes that story. It's clear, it's obvious. And it's exactly why this kind of behavior keeps raising serious questions about judgment, respect, and whether someone acting like this should be anywhere near the position they are in. Thank you for listening. Follow me on YouTube or on Facebook. This way you will always be updated and never miss any of the videos I make. Love always, Maria DC Santiago.